Okay, in part two of our quick start guide, we're going to take a look at some of the functionality that I use most often in SoundForge 8.0, and I think a lot of people would as well too. You'll benefit by being able to understand how to do these things real quickly. That way you'll be able to get up and running with some basic stuff that you would want to do. First is just opening audio files, and we'll just run through real quickly how you can open different files in different formats, and then you can manipulate them from there, which we'll get into in much more detail in other movies. We'll also show you real quickly how to extract a track from a CD. So if you need to pull a track off of any CD, get that audio inside of SoundForge so that you can then edit two clips together or make it just a small edit from a clip or whatever. And then the last thing I'll show you real quick is how you can then take any finished audio track you have in SoundForge and burn it back to CD. And again, it's a real simple thing that you can do right inside of SoundForge. Don't have to go to any external burning software or anything like that. They've made it really easy and straight ahead. So let's take a look. Okay, we're back in here in SoundForge, and we're going to just look real quickly at how you can open up files. Okay, we're going to take a quick look at how you can open files. Now, there's multiple different ways you can do that, and when we get into the file menu here in more detail, we'll actually go through the different alternate ways you can open files within SoundForge. But what I'm just going to show you real quickly here is a couple different ways. One is obviously just by using the open dialog here. But the second one, which if you've been using SoundForge or had it already open, you can see your most recent files. Now, there could be any from 2 to as many as 9 files down here. And once it gets to a certain amount, given the amount of disk space and RAM that you have, it will bump them off the list. You basically can have them right there on top of the list here, and you can pick which ones were most recently open. I'm just going to use the open dialog box. And then you can just drive to where the files are located. In this case, I've got some WAV files here, and I can just click on one. It shows me what type of file it is, gives me some detail about the file. I can get more information, but basically all I need to do is highlight it, or I could just double click on it and it opens right up. I can hit the play button here. It will then go ahead and play the file. You can see the, or I can also hit the space bar. I can move the cursor wherever I want, hit the space bar, and the space bar then will also trigger the file to play as well too. So there's a simple way of opening files. I'm going to go ahead and close. I'm actually going to leave this file open because I'm going to do a couple other things with it in a couple seconds here. Next thing I want to show you is how you can extract audio from a CD. I find this functionality to be really helpful. I use it a lot. If somebody wants me to compile a CD of background music for a specific event or something like that, I can pull them from multiple CDs, extract the tracks. They just give me a track list. We need track 1 from this CD, track 4 from this CD, extract them all into SoundForge, and then reburn them, make edits, cut a song in half, whatever I need to do, and then reburn it back onto a CD for the person. So let's take a quick look at that. Here we go. Under the File menu, there it is. Extract audio from CD. Pretty straightforward, pretty self-explanatory. You click on it and you get this dialog box right here. We'll go more into detail on this functionality when we get to this in the menu, but the basic function is the way that it comes up in defaults, and that is it reads by track. And so it shows me that the CD that I currently have in my CD player has 4 tracks on it. I can go ahead and choose which track I want. I can preview it to make sure it's the right track. It takes a second to spin up. Yep, that's the one I want. And it's telling me what drive it's coming from. If I had more than one drive, I could choose which drive I want. Also, lets me default as to what capture speed it wants me to do. I usually just leave it set at max, whatever the default of the actual drive itself is. So, click on OK. And now, like it says, it's extracting track 3 from the CD. It goes pretty darn quick. And voila, there we go. Move my cursor, hit my space bar. And there's my track. Now, I haven't saved this track as anything, but it's just been extracted from the CD. What I can do is I can save it now as any number of file formats. I can save it as a WAV, which is the most common, but I could also save it as an MP3, AIF file, whatever format I wanted to do. So that's the quick and easy way of extracting a file, then being able to do whatever you want to inside of SoundForge with it, and then being able to put it back out to CD or whatever you want from there. So I'm going to go ahead and close that. I'm not going to save it. What I am going to do though is I'm going to open up a couple more files. I'm going to open up this file, and I'm going to also open up this file. So I've got a total of 3 files open. You can see that I can stack the windows in my workspace here as well too. I can double click on the bar. I can also get that to size up if I wanted to. I can also scale it back down that way. So if I wanted to see it full screen, any one particular file. In this case, what we're going to do now is I'm going to show you how real quickly I can take some files, and we'll say for the sake of argument that I've been working with these files. I've already manipulated the audio. I've done what I wanted to do with them. Now I want to take these 3 files and I want to put them back out to CD. We're going to go now for a second and talk about how you can actually burn a CD inside of SoundForge. So the first thing you obviously want to do before you're going to do this is you're going to drop a blank CD into your CD burner. All right, so I've got a blank CD in my CD burner right now, and now I want to order the songs that I want to burn to the CD. And literally it's like whatever window's in the foreground, that's the one that's going to burn to the CD. So I want to do this one first, the Ha Jingle. So I'm going to go up to the Tools menu, Burn Track It Once Audio CD. You get this dialog right here. You've got some choices here in terms of burning audio, testing. Bottom line is that most of the time you're going to want to just go ahead and burn the audio other than when you get to the final track. I'll show you what I'm going to do there. It shows me what drive, again, I'm going to burn to. If you have more than one drive that you can choose there, then you'd want to choose the right one. And the speed, again, I usually leave it at max. So in this case, I don't want to close the disk because I've got 2 more tracks I want to burn. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and click Start on Burn Audio. It's going to go ahead and write the lead in. It's going to then go ahead, once it finishes writing the lead in, it's actually going to then burn the track. And it goes pretty quickly. Once it gets this part done, the track, and you can see down here where it says write buffer status, you can see how quickly it goes through and it burns the audio for that one track. Then it gives me this dialog box right here saying the burn was completed without errors. I say OK. I say close. Now I'm done with this track. I'm going to go ahead and minimize this one, get it out of my way. Next one I want to burn onto the CD is 1-2. So I'm going to again go to the Tools, same dialog, Burn Audio. Still don't want to close the disk. I got one more track to go after this. Hit Start, and away we go. Don't have to write the lead in this time, so it's basically going to go directly to burning the audio, and it goes really quick. And there we go. Disk burned without any errors. Okay, we'll close that again. So now I'm done with that track. Now here's my third and final track. This is the only other track I'm going to burn to the CD, so once I burn this track, I'm done. Let's go to the Tools, Burn Track It Once. This time, besides burning the audio, I'm going to close the disk, which actually is going to allow it to be playable in any Redbook CD audio player, you know, your car CD stereo or a boombox or whatever. And if I wanted to, I could even eject the disk when I'm done. I think I will in this case. So I'm going to go ahead and burn this last track. And again, the burning of the audio goes pretty darn quickly once the buffer status is all the way burned out through. What it's going to do is it's going to close out the disk. And it gives you an estimated time, 4 minutes, 3 minutes, 2 minutes. Frankly, I find this to be a little artificial. I mean, it'll count down, and obviously those seconds are going a lot faster than a second. And it'll hit a point here in the not too distant future where all of a sudden at a minute and something here, it'll just like bang, it'll be done. There you go. Disk was closed without errors. So now I say OK. I'm now looking over at my CD eject disk, and it had just come out of the computer, and I'm all burned and ready to go and hand this disk off and put a Sharpie label on it, and away you go. So those are some of the real quick and basic common functionalities that can get you up and running and doing some really cool stuff with SoundForge right away.